Hello, everyone. Uh, I'm avirawindser, and I know that I haven't exactly posted on this channel in a year, maybe coming on 2. I know, disgraceful, but that's besides the point. I have something that I need to talk about. That is my health. That this goes for why I haven't been creating a bunch of YouTube content and content for any other social media. Because I want to come out and explain my situation. I want to say thank you and a huge shout out to my mom. Good Times with Scar. Because he is another content creator that is disabled and that talks a lot about his medical conditions. I want to then, for my mom, I want to say thank you to her because she is the one that gave me the idea to come out about this because it's not talked about and I feel like it should be talked about more. And so those two I want to give a quick shout out to before anything else. Yeah. I hope this video at least will cause more people to do research and educate themselves about other chronic illnesses that people might not talk about or isn't talked about enough. Because that's what it is. It's about my chronic illness. Because my chronic illness brings a lot of pain and basically am disabled. And I want to say, if you're anyone from my school who sees this, hi. It's for you too. Educational. Yeah. But if you guys enjoy and would like more content or have questions that you would like me to answer, put them in the comments below. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys enjoy, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and if you want to be notified whenever I post again, hit the bells for notifications. Yeah. But I guess we should get on with this because it's a serious topic. Yeah. I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Hello. It is I, Avira. Otherwise, if you know me in school, by my voice, hello. This is just my online alias that I go by. But I also want to apologize that in the background clip there is no audio because I didn't realize that, and I do not want to sit for an hour waiting for it to come with audio. So just listen to me talking. But besides that, I would like to get started with today's topic. And today's topic is about my chronic illness that is rarely talked about or seen. And that is called EDS. And that's what I'm going to be calling it through the entire time because the actual name of it is so annoying to actually say. So yeah, we're just gonna stick with calling it EDS. But it is a chronic illness and also disability where your joints don't want to work correctly. So in my best way of explaining it, think of saltwater Laffy Taffy. Very stretchy, doesn't go back to its natural shape. easily. And think of your joints as a rubber band. It could snap back to place easily. But people with EDS, at least the type that I have, it's basically saltwater Laffy Taffy. So if if I end up stretching my shoulder out too much, or really any joint, my shoulder is just a good example of it. I can be in immense pain, and it's not fun to deal with. I'll give you that much. It's not. But it is a genetic illness that can be passed down from parent to child, which my mom is a carrier for it. I have mostly the same type of case that my mom has, which is able to be hyper flexible, so very flexible, and I can easily bruise. Healing also takes longer for us too, as well. Yeah, it's very easy to mess everything up. Because, like I said, your joints are meant to be like a rubber band, basically. Best way to describe it for normal joints. But this is a illness where you're stuck with it for your whole life when you get diagnosed. Sometimes it's early to diagnose, and sometimes it takes late, like a few years later. I started showing signs when I was, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 years old, maybe 5 years old, when I started showing signs of being hyper flexible, to where I could put both legs behind my head at the same time, which isn't necessarily normal, to say the least. But it got worse over the years. By either 2nd or 3rd grade in elementary school, I was asked to take a picture for this class project, and so I had to stand outside and just lift my arms up in the air, and I went as far as I could extend them to. And with that, a few days later, either I took it home or it was a parent-teacher night. I ended up showing my parents, and at the time, I didn't realize it, but I had hyperextended my elbows to where they were sticking out the wrong way. So I kind of looked like a bent tree, as you could see from what I am making right now. That was my first ever experience with it. And my parents were like, "You can't do that." And I was like, okay. I was a little confused at the time, but I just accepted it because I was a child and my parents knew what I should and shouldn't be doing. By later on, I felt completely normal. Everything was fine. But 6th grade, it's when it started getting worse. The spring of our 2nd semester, I was in tennis. And I had overworked my my shoulder so bad to the point where I had to go to a primary health and get a sling put on. But it was a few months prior to that where in my gym class, I actually had to stop doing push-ups and burpees because I was overextending myself to where my elbows would go in, and then I'd have to go to the nurse like as soon as possible to get an ice pack because I'd overextend my knees as well, which made it not fun to walk around. It was not fun. But yeah, so after that in 6th grade, the summer going into 7th grade is when I was diagnosed. Being diagnosed is really rare, actually, because doctors don't talk about it, or at least are taught well about it to actually be able to know what it is and diagnose it. I was lucky at the time to have a good doctor, and he actually knew what EDS was. So I was really lucky at that, to where I was just diagnosed that I had EDS. And at the time, I didn't fully comprehend what it was, because it just didn't seem to be like that crazy important, you know? But as time went on, I realized, like, in like early 7th grade, at the start of the new year, that's when I realized that I can't do a lot of stuff. And that started with our basketball unit in PE. It was for the first week there, and I had to put my sling back on because the force of the basketball ended up messing my shoulder up so much that I had to put a sling on. And at the time as well, I was in orchestra, and so it made everything a bit harder to handle, because it's not, you can't really play when you have a sling on. I mean, you can, but it's gonna be hard. That's what I learned about two people playing one instrument. Um, hold the violin or viola, and then hold the bow with another person. It was actually kind of easy if you knew the person and you guys could work together well. But besides that, the winter months got worse. Everything hurt a lot more, and it just felt like everything was locking up. So it was just not, it didn't feel well. It just hurt so much. But now, with being home now and just doing online school, it's a lot easier to manage, but I still get really bad pains. Because despite being able to know my limits, I can still overextend my shoulder to where it hurts to sit, because it goes down to my lower back, and then it hurts to do anything, really, to where it takes multiple days for it to for the pain to actually go away. But sometimes the pain doesn't, and it takes multiple days, and sometimes I get lucky enough to where the pain goes away in like a few hours. But even if I do take medicine, sometimes it's rare for when it does happen and the pain goes away. I am at the point with my EDS to where I probably should wear my braces a lot more, from my knee braces to my shoulder brace, because simply standing, it can mess my knees up, because my knees don't have that like natural bend to them like some people's do. But I'm luckily not at the point to where I need to be wheelchair bound, which sometimes if I get to that, because some people are at that point. Luckily, I'm not. I'm still able to be a functional person, despite when it's hard to be a functional person. But this is at least my story and how I have it. It's not easy at all. It's it's a hard task to have. But at least when I was doing in-person school, and I was dealing with a lot of pain, it honestly felt like, and like I'd talk to my teachers about it, and I'd be having a sling on, and I told my teachers about it, and it just seemed like no one believed me because it's a type of disability and illness that people can't see unless you're at the rare bunch to where it like you're in a wheelchair and you can't do anything unless you're in braces and in a wheelchair. Then yeah, you could see that there's a problem with the person. But mine isn't visible unless I physically wear all my braces at once. But when with a bunch of like people, it just seemed like no one believed me because I mean, who kind of wouldn't? Because it's a teenage girl just saying that, oh, I'm in pain, everything hurts. People aren't going to take that in well. They're just going to think that I'm over exaggerating, which sometimes it feels like I am when no one seems like they believe me. And I honestly wish that it seemed like a lot of my teachers do, because it just seemed like no one did. It just seemed like everyone was like, it almost seemed like everyone just thought I was doing it for attention, which I wasn't. And even if I was, I wouldn't be doing it that way because my pain, it's very much real, and I have to deal it till the day I die. It's not easy to deal with at all, because like I said, because at like the beginning of it all, and where I kept getting the looks from my teachers, either it was just full pity or just the like, okay, I know you're lying, but I'm not gonna say anything for it. And it sucked because I wasn't lying. um but it was at that time where I wish that my illness and disability was visible. I wish that like I had a type of disability where it was visible to see that I actually had a problem. But but it just seemed like no one did because there wasn't actual proof of me having it. But I'm lucky enough to where I'm able to speak up about this, and that's what I wanted to do with this video. I want people to have an understanding about what EDS is, and at least do research, because my research is going based off what I have. Everyone is going to have it different. But despite that, just people understanding that it's actually a real thing and not just a complete overreaction, that would be something huge. Because it's rare. Because doctors are taught, at least from what I heard from my mom, they're taught that the wildest things are probably the most simplest, like a horse. Despite it sounding like something like crazy that has hooves, it's probably just an ordinary horse. Which, with EDS, it sounds completely ordinary. Like if you go to the doctor and you talk about it, and they try and do tests for it, they're probably gonna be like, oh no, you're fine, nothing's wrong. That's when the saying, well, at least the mascot for EDS comes in, because despite everything being seen as a horse, it could possibly be a zebra. So that is the EDS mascot, a zebra, because no matter how much someone like tries to think that it's like something ordinary and simple, it's not. It's a real thing. But yeah, I also just recommend doing more research though, because it goes deep. I'm just going based off of what I've experienced, seen, done my own little research, because I just go down a rabbit hole to where it goes to like the more severe cases, and then I just sit there being like, if I had this, then people would actually believe me. But enough of that though. Just do research, please. Because it's something I have to deal with my whole entire life, and it makes having a job a lot harder because can't really take a day off when you're having really bad pains. And I wish that was a possibility, but it's kind of not, so it really sucks. But I wanna I just want to post this now though, because at some point in time in the future, it's people still won't know about it, at least enough to where they actually bothered to learn about what it is. But yeah, I hope this bit though was at least a little informational, at least with my story, because everyone has their own stories for this. It's not just my own. Just my story is what fits for me and is my narrative. Everyone else's is different, and I hope that people are able to understand that well. Yeah. But also, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the tree. Yeah. Thank you guys. Hello. I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. Well, not really episode, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Ow! I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I did, and I hope that it spreads some information for everyone. And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask, because I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself and how it's affected me. So, yeah. I've been Avirawindser, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.